Good morning. I have a question. Have you heard that weight loss surgery will make lipedema worse? Let's break that down. And the reason we're talking about that today is because I woke up to a message this morning from Amanda on my huge documentary on my entire journey from beginning to end of weight loss surgery. And she says, thank you for the response. I also have lipedema, and I was in one of the lipedema groups asking about weight loss surgery. Some of the women stated that it made their lipedema worse. Have you heard of this? They were able to lose a lot of normal fat cells or slash weight, but their lipedema fat got worse. Do you have any thoughts on this? Thank you. Yes, Amanda, I do. And I did answer Amanda in that post, but I thought it was a really, really good topic to talk about here in case there's other people out there that think the same thing. For those of you who don't know, and landed on this video for whatever reason, lipedema is a fat disorder, also called painful fat syndrome, and it is estimated to be present in about 11% of women, although I'm sure most of those women do not know that they have this disorder. And it's very rarely diagnosed. It's getting better. It is actually Lipedema Awareness Month this month as I film this. And so just getting it out there so that our doctors are aware of this situation is vital, because it's like thyroid disease was 30 years ago. Trying to get a diagnosis was next to impossible. Now, what does it do? Lipedema fat there's a couple of different reasons for this, and there is certainly a lot of research going on, not nearly enough. And the researchers so far have come up with a couple of reasons. It is leaky lymphatics that you're born with. So like you can have a leaky gut, you can have leaky lymphatics where the fat that travels through your lymphatics seeps out into the interstitial tissue where it cannot be dieted or exercised away. This is key to understand, that you cannot diet and exercise away lipedema fat. It has to be removed via liposuction. There is talk that it's a gene mutation that we're born with. Inflammation is a major driver of this. So anything that causes inflammation will make lipedema worse. Hormones are a key driver. So if your hormones are out, like you've got a thyroid issue like I have, and many lipedema women do, then if your thyroid is not running stably, it can cause the lipedema to get out of control. The times of your life that it becomes apparent, if you weren't aware of it before, are high hormonal times: puberty, pregnancy, menopause. So you may go your whole life and not have an issue with lipedema until you hit menopause. Other people it happens at puberty, other people pregnancy. For me, it was when my thyroid kicked it when I was 21. Okay, I always had sort of the solid legs, but I wasn't overweight as such. I just wasn't a skinny mini. But when my thyroid kicked it, that hormone variation, and it took a couple of years to get diagnosed. So therefore my thyroid was out for a couple of years. That drove the lipedema. So it's different for everybody, unfortunately, but it is very evident when it happens. And I think the biggest thing that we need to know is that it's not our fault. It's something that we've been born with. And we're not bad people because we've suddenly put on all this weight. We're not lazy. We're not lacking willpower. For me, nothing changed. Nothing changed in my food intake. What did change is I started hiding what I was eating because I couldn't work out why I was suddenly putting on weight and why I couldn't get rid of it after that. Okay, so it's a big emotional ride, lipedema. Now, I ended up having bariatric surgery. I had a gastric sleeve because I had come across studies that said you can lose weight, not the lipedema fat. Remember, that's not even diet or exercise away or bariatric surgery away. It does not resolve that fat because it's in a place that cannot be removed, unless you remove it via the liposuction. And the inflammation causes fibroblasts to develop around the fat cells, causing a very stiff structure, which is what causes the pain. And so there's these balls of fat, lobules of fat, that are encased in this collagen that's been turned into a stiff cage. So there's no getting that out unless you use liposuction. So the weight that you lose through bariatric surgery, the weight that I lost through bariatric surgery, was any weight that was not lipedema weight. Now, I'm coming across videos from Karen Herbst and Dr. Leslie Keith and other people like that, that are the ones that are in the trenches studying this day in and day out. And my understanding, may not be right, but this is my understanding so far, I will continue to study this, is that when you have lipedema fat, it kind of attracts normal fat as well. And if your hormones are out, your thyroid's out, well, then that's going to happen anyway. I found all these studies that pointed to the fact that the people that couldn't lose any kind of weight with lipedema, weight loss surgery actually did that. So I took a chance. I didn't eat much anyway. So to me, that was kind of the worst case scenario, is on the outside of having the surgery done was that, oh, you can't eat hardly anything after that. And I'm like, well, I don't eat much anyway. So it wasn't a big deal for me. It wasn't an issue for me emotionally and that kind of thing. Whereas for a lot of people, it would be. I have lost close to 60 kilos. I kind of bounce around, and I'm almost 3 years out. I don't know if this is my spot now or what, but that's okay. I feel amazing, so that's okay. But when you look at the pictures, and I will put them up now, you can see that the fat pads on the backs of my knees and the fronts of my knees is probably more obvious. So it's not that my lipedema got worse, it's that I lost all the fat around it, which means that the lipedema fat that is there was really obvious. And that's often what happens when you have bariatric surgery. And if you look online, you will find photos of anorexic people with lipedema, and the top half is very clearly anorexic and the bottom half is clearly overweight to the untrained eye, but it is lipedema. So I think what might happen is that it's not until you lose the weight that's not the lipedema fat that the lipedema fat becomes more evident. So that may be why those women feel like it got worse. It's not that it got worse, it's just that all the other fat disappeared, which made it more obvious. Okay, so until you have the surgery to remove that lipedema fat, it's not going anywhere, no matter how much other weight you lose. I've seen stories, and I say stories, I don't mean that lightly. I've seen people talk about that being on carnivore and strict keto has helped remove lipedema fat. I have no reason to disbelieve those people. So far, that hasn't changed anything for me, but it is very much a case of I will head towards surgery, because now I've changed my lifestyle and my dietary regime for the lipedema's sake. I was plant-based for right up until a year or two ago, and now I fully understand for my body it prefers carnivore or high keto, quite strict keto. If I eat that way most of the time, 80% of the time, then 20% of the time I can have the other things. I can have whatever I like, and it doesn't seem to affect my weight, my inflammation, that kind of thing. It's really important to understand that the weight loss surgery will not remove lipedema fat. But the way I see it is that if you look at me in long pants or, skinny jeans, that sort of thing, you don't see it. I know it's there, but I just dress accordingly, and I feel great dressed in those items. So if you look at me in shorts, you'll look at it and go, oh my God, yes, lipedema. And you might look at me and go, oh no, she's like a size 20. I'm a size 8 skinny jeans, and it's only by covering up. And of course, I've got the loose skin on top of the lipedema lobules, which makes the bare legs look kind of worse than what they actually are. But from a weight loss surgery perspective, I can walk with no pain. That is priceless. I will take wearing long pants or looking not the greatest in shorts any day over walking with pain and not wanting to exercise and just feeling like everything's hard work. Every other part of my life has completely changed and improved. And I was talking to my mum yesterday, and we were talking about this, and here's the biggest takeaway from losing this weight and from weight loss surgery. Even still having lipedema, I don't actually think of my body anymore. So if you've got weight and you've got lipedema that's out of control, you know what I mean when I say that, right? You know that I put my arm up, and I've had arm surgery, so I've had that much done and the lipedema removed from my arms. But I can put my arm up now to I don't know, hang things on the line or whatever I do, if I go like this in public and I'm not suddenly going, oh, don't look at my arms, right? I thought I would be right into the whole clothes and, oh, I can wear anything and, oh, how exciting, I can have a great wardrobe and all this. Complete opposite. I actually don't even think of my body anymore, even with the lipedema fat. But as I said, I know I'm going to go down the road of removing the rest of it if and when it's possible. So that's been the biggest takeaway for me and the biggest joy and non-scale victory, as they say in the bariatric world, is that I don't think about my body anymore. I can spend my bandwidth in my head and in my heart, thinking about other things, achieving other goals, enjoying walking, not worrying about how I feel, how tired I am, how much I hurt. I have not found any studies that would suggest that lipedema fat gets worse. I would, however, say if you're eating in a way that's causing inflammation, that's causing your hormones to be out of control. And by hormones, I don't just mean thyroid hormones, I mean insulin is a hormone. So if you're having a lot of sugar, then those hormones are going to be out of control. So any hormones out of control in your body is going to cause problems with lipedema. So if you're eating that way before weight loss surgery and you do not use weight loss surgery as a tool to get yourself on the straight and narrow with eating non-inflammatory food items, no more processed foods, that kind of thing, then no, I cannot find any research or studies to suggest your lipedema would get worse. If you continue to eat in a way that has caused your lipedema to begin with, so as I said, say you're a sugarholic, easy to do, don't judge yourself over it because half the world, more than half the world is a sugarholic, that's the job, that's the work. All right. So when you first have weight loss surgery, you just don't have any hunger at all. That is the time you quit sugar, right? You don't have the seed oils that causes inflammation. You don't eat the ultra processed foods that cause inflammation. That's why it's called a tool, not an answer. Because if you can use that time of when you have no hunger whatsoever to quit all the things that are causing inflammation and your hormones to be out of control in your body, then you will halt the progression. You won't reverse it. You will halt it. The only way of reversing it is, my understanding is, the liposuction. And, this was over a year ago and has not changed. I watch them like a hawk because 80% of the time I'm eating real whole foods, mostly carnivore, sometimes keto. I don't use seed oils. I don't eat ultra processed foods unless I'm on holidays and it's kind of the only thing I can grab to eat. I'm just really careful and understand how my body is. I use my ankles as a monitor for inflammation. I measure, because I've got the ankle cuffs, I measure my ankles. And I keep an eye on that and I watch the scales every day for data. No other reason but for data. All right. It's not to have a go at myself if I've been eating things that I shouldn't. It's just to go, oh, okay, yep, that's a good reminder. I can't do bread. I can't do grains. They cause inflammation and I can see it on the scales and I can see it in the tape measure around my ankles. That's all I use it for. Because the big thing that we've got to get past with lipedema is how it makes us feel emotionally. All right. I know how it makes us feel. I know how it makes you feel. It makes you feel like you're just no good at anything, right? Like a loser, like a failure, because you can't understand why you can't get rid of it. So that's part of the journey. So whether you choose weight loss surgery or choose carnivore, doesn't matter. All you can hope to do with the lipedema fat that's already in place and already encased by hardened connective tissue, all you can do is stop it from getting worse and stop more of it from being laid down in your body unless you have the liposuction. Until I see any other studies to suggest otherwise, that's what I understand. And I'm very much open-minded as new studies come out. If a new study comes out, and they start to compound on each other in the next few months that, oh, no, eating only fruit is what's going to reverse it, I will try it. Sure, why not? But I will continue to measure my ankles, track my symptoms, step on the scales every day. How do I feel? Am I getting itchy? If you watch my keto versus carnivore, I tried adding veggies back in recently, some green broccolini, some coriander, I got itchy all over. Okay, it's not for me right now. I'm not saying that it's not for me forever. I don't believe in that. I no longer wish to be dogmatic about what I eat. Food is joy to me. I don't know about you, but I have noticed when I am online on YouTube and watching things for joy, for pleasure, it's food and traveling for me. I just love it. I love seeing what different cultures eat. I love seeing how they cook things because I was a short order cook. I've been a cake decorator. I've done all the food things. I love food. I don't feel the need to go and cook up a storm. Every now and again I do, but making cookie boxes for friends and family kind of keeps that at bay. If I really feel like I want to make something decorative, like my cake decorating days, then I will make cookies and send them to my husband's work. So you kind of get around these things, right? But that's my takeaway and my opinion of what I understand so far of weight loss surgery and lipedema. To me, if you want to get rid of all the weight that is not lipedema fat, weight loss surgery is your friend. If you're struggling to walk, if you're struggling to do the things that you really want to do to live the life that you want to live, why not take the chance? But do the emotional work, use it as a tool. Understand that if you keep your hormones all over the place, you keep eating lots of sugar, you keep doing things that tanks your thyroid or whatever else you've got going on hormonally, it's going to come back. It's not going to reverse anything. This is a really important thing to understand. Okay, so I hope that helps. Your next steps, if you're interested in weight loss surgery, is to scope it out. You don't have to say yes. Do you have a doctor that can do it? How will you pay for it? Do you have private health that will cover it? Can you go on a waiting list for the government, options? I have friends that did that, waited 2 years for it, but didn't have to pay for it because the government paid for it. So there are a lot of options. So maybe while you're deciding whether or not this is for you or you want to take a chance on it, just scope out what your options are. You're actually just scoping out the options and talking to a doctor and, even if it's on Zoom, that kind of thing, that doesn't mean to say you have to go through with it, but gather the data in the meantime. Eventually you'll get to a point where you go, yep, it's for me, or no, it's not for me. Okay, that would be my advice, but from my perspective, it's changed my life in a way that I never thought it would. So please don't be afraid. Please don't be afraid of judgment, because that was my biggest fear as a naturopath and a clinical nutritionist, which I became to try and help myself, and it didn't. It helped in a lot of ways, but not from the weight perspective because of the lipedema. Yeah, I had to get past what are people going to say? That was probably my biggest hurdle of saying yes. And then I got to a point that I went, you know what? Nobody else walks in my shoes. Nobody else knows my pain. Nobody else struggles to find clothes to fit and hates walking every day. So why am I worried about their opinions? So if that's what your issue is, then you just start researching for you. On my private Facebook page, I have across the banner, nobody is coming to save you. Get up. And that's my message to you today. If you think this is going to help you, if you have that strong feeling it will help you with everything but the lipedema fat, then that's better than nothing. You do you.